Hey everyone, this is Modest Millions, and today, by popular demand, we will be doing our first weekly gold making podcast style video, and we're going to be starting Monday Millions. So this is going to be episode 1, so let's jump right into it. So I thought that we would start out by covering the series. So what I'm going to be doing with this is I'm going to be recapping the gold guides and farms that I've done the week before, also tweaks or updates to those, and then really small things, additional information, shuffles that are going to be good, and other things that are smaller that really didn't make it into any of my other videos. And then I'll end each episode on what I'm going to be talking about the next week, any channel updates, or specific things that I want to cover that week. So hopefully you all enjoy this new style of series. So here's the first Monday Millions. So these past 2 weeks in Shadowlands have been kind of crazy. Launch was amazing. We had a lot of fun and spent way too much time flipping and farming. So I actually just very recently hit 60 with my 2 tunes. So early on launch night, I made an absolute killing from Nightshade with my Bastion dual gathering route. I mean, these things were selling for 400 to 500 each, and it was amazing. So we're going to be starting with a nice little list that kind of shows us what we're going to be talking about. So starting off, we have the Shrouded Cloth, Raw Gold, and Bracer Disenchanting Shuffle. This is nerfed, however, we're still going to talk about it. Then we're going to talk about the Ink and Pigment Milling Flip that I was doing, our Maldraxxus Blight Touched Egg Farm, Enchanted Material Flips, the Open World Farms, specifics about dual gathering, then also covering the race to Castle Nathria coming with this new reset. And also, I kind of wanted to cover this is my wins and losses for the first 2 weeks, because I don't really see a whole lot of creators talking about the losses that they have. So I thought this would be good so that not only I can learn from the losses and mistakes that I have, but you as well. So first off, we're going to be talking about the Shrouded Cloth, Raw Gold, and Disenchanting Bracer Flip. Now, this has been completely nerfed into the ground with the changes to number thread. They changed it from 5 to 9 gold, and they also changed the amount needed by a couple, so it absolutely destroys the Raw Gold Fender Flip. But not only did they stop there, they went ahead and also decreased the amount of soul dust and disenchanted items that you get from disenchanting only crafted items. So this also pretty much destroyed the soul dust shuffle as well. But in some of my other videos, I've talked about how we can kind of get around that. It's looking more and more like there's still a viable raw gold shuffle with leatherworking, and buying desolate leather so cheap right now because of all the open world skinning farms. And these are still available to do with leatherworking and skinning, and most of these have not been nerfed. So now moving on to the ink and pigment shuffle. I did a video on this a while ago. The numbers have kind of stabilized from this, but I have still been making very, very consistent profit over time. I haven't sold as much ink. My numbers have dropped from about 400 to 500 inks a day selling, and around 500 to 800 pigments selling a day, to right at 200 inks selling a day and 300 to 400 pigments selling each day. I've dramatically cut back on this and the milling process for inks and pigments. However, on your server, just continue to check and see if the numbers are good, and if they are, this is an easy flip. However, on my server, it's becoming much more beneficial for me to flip the inscription crafted items. And after hitting 60 with both of my alts and starting the grind with the reputation, I'm starting to get able to get the faction crafted items as well for inscription, so this will increase my profits there. So the next one that I wanted to talk about was the Maldraxxus Blight Touched Egg Farm that we were talking about with skinning and leatherworking. This has been a great combination farm and a great way for you to get your Blight Touched Egg, which also gives you a mount, and this is an amazing hyperspawn for leather. The spot looks like the leather drops have been nerfed for the heavy callus hides. However, you still get all the other, and you still get heavy callus hide drops, just not as many. So when you're out at this spot, what you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to make sure that you don't miss a tag on this item. A lot of people were misunderstanding how the farm actually worked. So if you don't tag these guys as they spawn, it can take anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes for them to fly around the area that they actually fly around. So then people were coming out to the spot and thinking that it had been nerfed. However, it hasn't. They still will hyperspawn. You just have to wait for them to fly back around, and then when they get to that area, then you tag them, kill them, and then they'll continue to hyperspawn. The only thing that's been nerfed at this spot is the amount of heavy callus hides you get. This is still a very good spot if you want to just farm the mount. So even if you want to just solo this, you can get yourself the blight covered egg, and you'll be able to get this within 30 minutes to an hour. Everybody that I've run through this has gotten it during that time, and it gets you the mount. So also talking about skinning, this leads me into the next thing that has made me some serious gold profits over the past week, and that is the enchanted heavy callus hides. This item has been absolutely insane on my market. Now, prices have continued to drop because of the undercutting. Even with the drop in heavy callus hides, they have stabilized and they have dropped as well. So this still will leave you a profit even for enchanting. If you just simply want to buy the heavy callus hides, enchant them, you're still looking at anywhere from 600 to 1k gold profit per flip with this. Over the past week, I've probably sold anywhere from 300 to 500 of the enchanted heavy callus hides, and I've been doing very well in this market. And even to this day, this is still one of my best markets on my server. Over the past week, since it's been a great market, competition has probably tripled in the enchanted heavy callus hide market. However, even with this and the number of undercuts, the profits have still been amazing. About 5 days ago, I did a hard reset on enchanted heavy callus hides and the heavy callus hides on my server, and made up for any of the profits that I'm losing now with the prices decreasing. I bought out the enchanted heavy callus hide market for about 4.1k and all of the heavy callus hides at around 2k, and then sold over half of the enchanted heavy callus hides that I made or bought overnight. And this was at the relisted price of 7,500 gold each. So I just wanted to highlight this. This has been a beautiful market. People will buy this really right now at no matter what cost it is. They just need them for the legendary crafts that the leather workers are making an insane amount of gold on. And this is also a very easy market to get into. So if you're looking for a market to kind of get your feet wet in flipping materials with your enchanter, this is a great one to get into. So now I wanted to touch a little bit on the open world farms that have kind of come out since Shadowlands and what's been happening with them. There are so many of the open world farms for me to go through specifically. I can't touch on each of them. However, a majority of you guys have stayed up with other content creators' content as well as my own, and have seen there are plenty of hyper spawns, instant spawns, and even the ones that I've covered here on the channel. These are all still available. A lot of these farms are still going. Some of them have just been slightly nerfed depending on what they are. They just don't necessarily drop as much as they used to, or some of them have just been completely nerfed into the ground and no longer work. So you just need to test those for yourself. I feel like the stealth nerfs to the open world farms and the complete nerfs on the open world farms have come much faster with Shadowlands. Blizzard has taken a really seriously hard stand on nerfing anything that gives you an early advantage during this expansion on making tons of gold by just simply killing it, or just not allowing you to make any gold off of the vendor flipping, unless you're doing this on the AH, and then they can't really regulate that much. So if you see one of the content creators like myself, Student, Solheim, Want to Buy Gold, Samadan, any of these guys put out guides on open world farms, go out there and try them for yourself and try to get some good loot and some epics or whatever you're looking at getting before these hyper spawns get nerfed, because these are getting nerfed much quicker than they did in BFA here in Shadowlands. Now, I'm going to touch a little bit on one of my suggestions that I made in my Shadowlands prep guide, and that was having your first character be a dual gatherer running through. Now, looking back, I can kind of evaluate whether or not this was a proper suggestion during the beginning of the expansion. And I can say with complete 100% certainty that I stand by the dual gathering during the first week. I made over 2.3 million gold in raw materials. The prices on herbs during the first week were absolutely insane. They skyrocketed. They came back down recently, but it's also been heavily fluctuating especially now with Castle Nathria getting close to release, they are coming back up. And people have been trying to reset the market multiple times a day on my server and other servers, so there's always plenty of opportunity for very high profits. And hopefully, keep in mind, if my guide went up on Sunday like I was hoping, this is going to be very specific for professions and what you need to be focusing on for the reset. So not only do the professions have such a high increase during this next reset, but also dual gathering will as well. So with the reset coming tomorrow, the prices of materials will jump again, and the price of crafted items will also jump. So this is going to be a prime time to stock up on all of the materials that you can get with dual gathering, and wait until Tuesday right after reset to relist. Now, touching on Castle Nathria opening up, check out my video here with the specifics of what you should be doing and how you should be preparing for the reset with your professions. And finally, guys, the last bit. So this week I kind of wanted to do something a little different, and I wanted to talk about my wins and losses during the first 2 weeks. So I have been doing very well with all of my material cells, herbalism, mining, and fishing. Skinning open world farms before they got nerfed have been absolutely amazing, and the couple that are still going. I have made a couple million profit off of the enchanted leather, along with enchants and bag cells. But now, more what I really wanted to touch on is my losses. Not a lot of creators really talk about this, so I thought that it would be good so that you guys can all see my mistakes and learn from them as well. So last week I lost roughly 2 mil on Dark Moon decks on the second reset. I spent a combined 3 mil on specific cards and herbs to make the Dark Moon decks. And I actually got behind schedule on crafting these and making the decks, and I actually didn't get these posted until the day after the week 2 reset. During this time, the prices on my server went from averaging around 110 to 120k each to 30k gold each, and I absolutely lost my ass. So again, like I say, on a lot of my flips, only spend what you're willing to lose on those flips. I'm still doing very well. since the beginning of Shadowlands, and I've gained around 5 to 6 mil since the beginning. So, just so you guys know, obviously you can see you'll win some and you will lose some during your gold making journey. And guys, that's going to be it for our first Monday Millions video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video in the more recap style, and if you do, please let me know. Comment, like, and subscribe down below. If you have any other specific questions, join our Discord. Plenty of people on there that can help you with just about anything in your gold making journey. And I will see you guys next Monday.